and it's time to go to Bequia for Christmas. It's not a normal travel day, but it's the best one we got between now and December 24th, so we're gonna go for it. Into the wind, into the waves a little, but we're gonna sail and tack. Probably end up being about 35 miles to 40 miles with our tacking. May not be the most comfortable, but we're gonna give it a shot. Lindy's up forward, getting the mooring lines ready to be dropped. I've got a double reef put in the main just so we can be as comfortable and under control as possible. And yeah, here we go. Okay, we've got the engine off. Left Frigate Island there. We're gonna come around this point of Union and start heading more north. We'll see when we get out there. When we get around this point, the wind's probably gonna pick up. I can see chop out there, so yeah. We're out here sailing now. This is definitely gonna be an interesting day. Tacking into the wind, you know, just all day. A good sail. I guess that's what we'll call it. Working our way along out into the Caribbean. Where we're wanting to go is over there, so we're just gonna have to tack back and forth to get there. So yeah, you can see we've got quite a bit of wind chop and some ocean swell coming through. Lindy, you okay so far?
Yeah.
You nervous?
Yeah, just not my favorite.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we start to get used to the motion like that. And if it gets too bad, we'll turn around or we'll duck in to an intermediate stop somewhere and rest, and then do the rest tomorrow.
Having only been in Union Island for less than 2 weeks, it's definitely not like us to take off on a longer than needed passage, skipping islands that we would like to explore, and also on a day with high winds and waves on the nose. But Bequia is apparently where everyone goes for Christmas in the Grenadines. All of our friends were going to be there, and we fell victim to breaking one of the main rules of cruising: don't do anything on a schedule.
We've been out a little shy of 2 hours. We're about 6 miles offshore. One thing that's got us frazzled, we had a little electrical problem where this was melting this plastic on our VHF remote. And yeah, for an instant we had the terror of thinking that there was a fire on the boat out here away from land, which is really scary. This was smoky, and Lindy smelled smoke. And we didn't know what it might be if it was more than this. There's Lindy. She did really good on the wheel when I had to spring into action. Was much more calm than I was.
You know, said switch the radio off, cut off the power, get that started, and then he went down through the lazarette to look at the back of it, make sure there wasn't a fire there. But yeah, it just makes you a little nervous, and so I think we both feel a little more comfortable if we dropped anchor and took a little bit of time just to, you know, chase it down and really make sure that we got the culprit. But yeah, a fire on the boat, scary stuff.
We'll tack here in a few minutes, and it'll be an hour and a half or so to get into Canouan. But when we get over there, instead of tacking back out, I think we're gonna anchor. And that's Canouan right there. So we'll tack and head over. You can see Union behind us, and that's my row in the middle. All right, woo, something else. Canouan. probably gonna have to tack again. We're getting closer back to the islands. And we've got our first kind of up close look of Meru. Canouan, getting close. I can see big boats up in there anchored. Woo. We're still on kind of a lumpy ride. Ready to come about?
Yep.
Here we go, coming up.
Hold on, I pinched it a little too much. You gotta
Okay, I got
let
it.
it out a bit.
There we go. Job.
We were only less than 5 miles away from where we had started, and the anchorage we were shooting for in Canouan was less than 10 miles away from our start. But the conditions were rough, and tacking back and forth seems to take forever. But what was really in the back of our minds was that the larger 16-mile gap between Canouan and Bequia was known for much larger seas and rougher weather as boats make their way from the southern Grenadines to the northern Grenadines.
Would you say, Lindy, it would be nice to be anchored soon?
Yeah.
Not too much longer, maybe an hour. I hope. We're motoring in now. Canouan. We're awfully close. Pretty awesome looking spot here. I don't know if we're gonna get off the boat tonight, but check out that little beach. And you can just see the wind and the water just moving right there. I mean, a few hundred yards away. Wow. We'll come back here to Canouan another time and, you know, explore. This is just sort of our stop on the way up to Bequia. But it looks like a good stop. Just chilling out. What do you think, Lindy?
Yeah.
Better than being out sailing?
I double-checked all the electrical and found that the only problem was the one short at the one connection for the remote VHF. Then it was time for some de-stressing in the beautiful anchorage we found ourselves in. Day 2 of our trek to Bequia for Christmas time is about to start. It's early in the morning. The sun hasn't quite come up over Canouan yet. Not much else to do but get moving and head around that corner where there's gonna be winds and waves. Lindy, how's the downstairs preparations going?
Good.
Yeah?
Yep.
Looks good down here. Hopefully not too much will fly around in all different directions. We'll see. Here we go. Sails are up. Motoring out of the bay. Next stop, Bequia. Lindy's getting the centerboard down. Always wonder what it's gonna feel like just right out there. We'll see in a minute.
held on tight as the line between calm anchorage and 30-knot gusts was instant, with winds accelerating around the point of Canouan. Out in the open sea were some of the biggest waves we'd ever been in, with winds quite a bit higher than the previous day.
Wow. So we've already talked a little bit about maybe turning back and heading towards Union, because it's pretty rough out here. And we've got a long day of this, so we're going to give it a little bit longer, but I don't know. This is not the kind of stuff me and Lindy go out in. Alright, we've been out an hour now. We're still thinking of pressing forward. We kind of said, hey, we're already out here. Let's just keep going. Although neither of us are comfortable. Just kind of daunting. I mean, the wind's howling. The seas are big.
Our boat is small.
Our boat is small. This is true. Gonna be out for 5 or 6 more hours doing the same thing. It just seems like a long time.
We're gonna keep going, but we're not happy about it.
Yeah.
I'm not happy.
I'm real happy out here myself. Let's see if the camera can capture what it's like out here. Whoop. Well, here, that was a good one.
The further we got into the gap between Canouan and Bequia, the larger the waves became, to the point where we would lose sight of the mountainous islands around us when we were in the troughs, and I resigned myself to hand steering so that I could make adjustments to anything that winds and waves were throwing at us.
The sea just sort of looks angry. And does Lindy look angry? She looks alright. She's keeping a smile. Well, we're still out here. Bequia is getting closer though. We can make it out a little bit better visually. There it is. We're making it.
Holidays are good on boat.
That's right. That is right.
She keeps us safe. I mean, so far. Keep it up.
We were sad to be leaving the southern Grenadines behind with very little exploring, but we knew we'd be back after some time in Bequia. But we weren't really excited about the thought of doing this stretch of water again anytime soon, as the winter winds typically stay strong for months in this area of the world. The inhabited islands of the northern Grenadines consist of Bequia and Moustique. Moustique is mostly a private island for the very wealthy, which we'll explore later in the season.
So we've tacked back in. And then we'll have to tack back out and back in one more time. But we'll be in there closer to Bequia. We think it'll be a little bit nicer. Although I see a little rain shower coming, so that's not really exciting. Yeah. We can see the sailboats in the harbor. They're just 3 close miles away. We gotta make one more tack though. And there's where we're going. Go another 1.5 miles or so out this way, and we'll tack back in. We just made our final tack, and we're pointing right where we're wanting to go.
Yahoo!
2.9 miles. The home stretch.
It had been a long 2 days, but we were super glad to finally be on a tack heading straight towards our destination.
We've been out 5 hours now. We got about another half hour, 5.5 hours. Not too bad. Actually, it was pretty bad. Of course, Mother Nature's got to throw one last rainstorm at us. The last one wind didn't pick up appreciably, so hopefully this one's the same.
As luck would have it, this one was not the same, and the squall threw very high gusts at us for one last bit of excitement of this tough passage. But it was a typical squall where as quickly as you're entering the thick of it, you're coming out the other side into clear weather.
Made it through the rainstorm. I saw 30 knots for a second. Now we've got the head sail in and we're motoring the last mile.
Yay!
All right, look at there. Bequia.
It better be amazing.
Better be all that everybody's cracked it up to be. Pain in the butt to get here in this weather. Woo! Good view of the main island of St. Vincent.
We hope you enjoyed this episode full of some of the sportiest sailing you'll ever see me, Lindy, and Holiday do. Stay tuned for the next episode where we begin to explore the beautiful island of Bequia.